Secretary Studios in downtown Little Rock, this is Capitol View with your host, Roby Brock.
Welcome to Capitol View. I'm your host, Roby Brock. We appreciate you joining us. It is a big time in Arkansas and across the nation for agriculture, and joining me now is Wes Ward, the Secretary of the Arkansas Department of Agriculture. Good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
You guys had a big conference up in Northwest Arkansas this past week.
Yeah.
Tell me what the organization was that the conference was centered around, because I think you're the president of it, or maybe the past president now. Yeah. And who was there? What was going on?
Yeah, so we participate as the Arkansas Department of Agriculture, participate in the NASDA, National Association of State Departments of Agriculture, and so we've been honored to get to serve as the president of that organization for this past year, and part of those responsibilities is to get to host the annual meeting, which we just hosted in Northwest Arkansas, and so we're proud to get to do that in all 50 states, 4 U.S. territories. Federal, private, corporate, everybody came into Arkansas. We had record-breaking attendance, largest event that we've ever had for NASDA. Had it here in Arkansas, and just a fantastic event. We had Governor Sanders was there, Secretary Rollins was there, so it was a big deal. Had just a great opportunity to showcase Arkansas and Arkansas agriculture, and it was a big success.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. Congratulations on rolling on
That's
the
right.
presidency
Yes. Thank
too.
you.
Now you can.
That's right.
Now you got a little bit more free time on your hands.
Yeah.
Tell me what you learned from the conference there that you did not know already.
Yeah. So a lot of conversation, and both Governor Sanders and Secretary Rollins talked about this, was just the difficulties that the entire agriculture industry is facing, and so to hear that directly from them, they're certainly very attuned to what's going on in the ag industry, especially for Arkansas. It's the row crop industry, about a $1.5 billion potential economic loss there for our row crop producers. But so the economy was one, trade was another. A lot of conversations about trade. We were able to host more than this, but there were 33 agricultural attachés that came. A lot of international people came in for the conference from about 25 different countries. And then just, Make America Healthy Again was a big topic. We had Donnie King, the CEO of Tyson Foods, came and spoke. So a lot of really good conversations, but farm economy, trade, those were two of the really big ones.
Well, good. We still got a bulk of our interview left to dive into those topics here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about row crop farmers and what they're experiencing.
Yeah.
Obviously, the One Big Beautiful Bill at the federal level, and so much of this is federal policy in terms of potential solutions here. It does remedy some situations, but it's going to be a year in the making because of the way reference prices work and crop insurance and things like that.
Yeah.
What needs to be done immediately? Do you think we're just a financial bailout's the only option at this point?
There's a lot of conversations on that, and both the Governor Sanders and Secretary Rollins both talked to that of the short-term bridge to get us to next year. Those new reference prices should take effect October 1st, so which is great. I think
next year.
Of next year, that's right. So will be beneficial, but it's just how do we get our producers to that? I know you're hearing a lot of that as well. So I think it's a lot of creativity is what we're looking at. I know Governor Sanders last week, looked at how do we take the nutrition programs in Arkansas? How do we make those more beneficial for Arkansas producers? So it's looking at those sort of things. We're hosting that international group that is in Arkansas this week. We're meeting with them again today. They're doing additional farm tours. So that's 25 countries that we're having additional trade conversations with. We've got a delegation from Taiwan that we're signing a letter of intent. They're going to purchase about $5 to $6 billion worth of corn and soy. So those sort of things, like there is a need for some assistance at the federal level, but it also takes creativity on the state level as well as what Governor Sanders is doing here. Which is like, what else can we do to help help make?
So you're talking about opening up some new trade markets. That's what you're talking.
Yeah.
So and that is a short-term and a long-term solution because some of those foreign trade markets dried up over the last, I'd say, 4 to 6 years maybe. Yeah. So any idea? I mean, we know what Arkansas farmers are looking at in terms of estimates. Yeah. But when you put that number together for all of the other states, I mean, do you think we're looking at a $30 billion bailout package, a $50 billion bailout? I mean, does anybody have a good estimate?
That's a great question. I've heard the $30 billion number. I think everyone's still trying to, especially for the row crop industry, as they're going into harvest now, trying to, like, what will the impact be once they get done with harvest? How are yields? What's the output? What's the prices that they're able to capture?
I think yields are high and prices
That's right.
are low.
No, you're
so.
absolutely right. So, and that's across the board. So
Yeah.
Arkansas, we kind of got a good estimate, but other states are kind of working on their numbers as well. I think we're probably a little bit ahead of some other states, just knowing kind of what we're anticipating. But it'll be a big number. I've heard the $30 billion number, but it's significant.
Do you think it gets done, number one, and number two, what's the point of no return? If you can't get it done by a certain date, it's just not going to be helpful at all.
That's a really good question. I do think with the conversations that are happening, we had certainly with Senator Bozeman as chair of the Senate Ag Committee, the governor's involved, Secretary Rollins is involved.
Representative Crawford's still on the House Ag
Committee. That's right. So
yeah.
we've got a great congressional delegation. Arkansas really couldn't ask for a better position to be making that argument. So we've got all hands on board trying to help. I think something will happen. The question is just how big, how long, and what will the number be. So feel like something's coming. We're just waiting on the additional details there. I certainly got that impression from Secretary Rollins this week. And from Senator Bozeman as well, that they're definitely trying to make that happen. How long can they wait? That's a great question. Some people would say the end of the year because they've got to start making decisions for next year.
Yeah.
You don't want to go out and spend. These operations, like, it's not cheap to put a crop in the ground, and they don't want to spend that money if they're not going to be able to stay in business and incur that additional debt. So,
do you talk to some farmers that just aren't even putting anything in the ground because they know I'd rather not do anything than lose money?
We've seen that. We have seen that. People who just decide I'm going to take a certain portion of acreage out of production because I know I'm going to lose money on it, and they try to find some niche markets or something where they can try to capture some additional value add. So it's I think every farm, every producer, every position of the state is a little bit different. How far away they are from an elevator, what other potential opportunities they have. So it is significant. Even Secretary Rollins shared the number, potentially one in three farms in the U.S. potentially could go out of business this year. So it's drastic, it's severe.
What happens if that happens?
It will completely change the face of agriculture across the country. So it's something has to happen. We've seen consolidation. We don't want that to happen. Even the larger producers say, I cannot take anymore. Like, I don't want additional farm ground. We can't afford to let some of these smaller producers go out. So it would be drastic and it would be significant should that happen.
It's a national security problem as well, because food security is national security. It's also, it's got a downstream effect too. Not just the farmers themselves, but everybody that is in the ecosystem of selling to farms, seed companies, equipment companies. I mean, the ripple effects are pretty major.
That's right, especially for states like Arkansas. Agriculture is our largest industry. It is for many states. But you take some of these small agriculture communities, like where I grew up in Lake City, it's like it's agriculture. Like you may be able to drive to Jonesboro or some other city to take another job, to do additional off-farm income, but those communities are driven by agriculture. And if you lose the industry, you lose your schools, you lose your restaurants, you lose your grocery stores, you lose everything.
It's rough. Last question for you here. We got about a minute left. I mean, I've heard very vocally from a lot of farmers all across the state, and particularly row crop farmers who are in these dire circumstances. Do you think that they're being heard? I mean, what gives them some sort of comfort right now that something's going to be done?
I think in particular for Arkansas, having Secretary Rollins and both Governor Sanders this week talk about the impact. Governor Sanders knows directly the impact, directly the number. She's talked to many producers. She's had direct conversations with Secretary Rollins and others in the administration. So we know that message is being shared. That doesn't always provide a lot of comfort, but that would be like, I think it's being with Senator Bozeman as well. Like, the message is being received. It's just how much can they do?
I think they need to talk to President Trump, and they need to Speaker Johnson and Senate President Thune are the ones that they need to say, let's get it going today.
So, absolutely right.
All right, he's Wes Ward. He is Arkansas's Agriculture Secretary. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Hang in there.
Anytime.
Appreciate you. All right.